Hey, 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 welcome back into a special edition of Tony Talks Trash about music. Today I'm going to revisit one of my artists that's closest and nearest and dearest to my heart, Mr. Todd Rundgren. In each of these series, I'm trying to do an album ranking, and we did the album ranking with Jay before, but I'm going to get heavily into the songs here, and I'm going to give you, in the Casey Kasem way, my top 40 Todd Rundgren songs. Why 40? I love him, man. What are you going to have? I can't overlook some of these songs. All these songs, I really like the guy. I like a lot of the stuff he does. He does a lot of things in a different style. Sorry, I'm scratching my nose here. But I think we can wind through these pretty quickly. I'm going to tell you a couple particular ones I like before we get started on this 40. And I'm going to try to move here pretty fast. A couple ones I like that are on the bootleg edge of things, and I didn't count those. There's a lot of good bootleg performances, but there's a great live version of Maybe I Could Change where Todd plays piano. I think is in Madison, Wisconsin, 1983. Really super great version of that. And I think has a spirit to it in its hesitancy and its delicacy that kind of, more than I like the studio version's fine, but it's just different. I like Todd singing on it, and I like the fact that how slow it is. And I also like, his version of "Come as You Are." There's a demo of him singing the song that he wrote for the Tubes record too. That's really fantastic. But it's not a Todd release thing, so we didn't go. So I'm going to get started right now, and I'm going to start with number 40. My number 40, the first one is going to be the song "Drive" from the ever popular Tortured Artist Effect. Great live song with the live. We've seen it on the solo shows, especially the ones where he did by himself. A lot of times he would play that song in the late 80s through the 90s, and really, it turned out to be a good band song in some of the later songs too. Always a great one. And while we're talking about that, we'll talk about the rarely number 39 Determination from Herman and Mink Hollow. I love the Herman and Mink Hollow record, a very important record to me growing up, my senior year of high school. Um, I think this song, especially live, you saw it on that Hello People tour, that short tour where they had the other band in 1978, the other band beside Utopia. They did play that. And then later on, there was a live version of that song picked up by some of the later bands. At number 38, I'm going to cheat a little bit here, but I'm going to go with the alternate version of Runt and the song Say No More. I think it's a beautiful, delicate ballad a la Laura Nyro, except it's even more echoey and more bare. And it's really, if you have a good, clean record, and it's some of those pressings, I hate to say an Ampex records are not, they didn't use the best vinyl at that time. But that's a beautiful, beautiful song. And, I always wish that that would have been included in the final. In the final version, it is a great gem that there is two versions of that great early record. Number 37, we're going to go to the Individualist, 1995, with Temporary Sanity, a great song that was played live a lot during that tour. That tour was really good in that they played nearly the whole record. I think the only song they didn't play was The Ultimate Crime. And they played every other song and alternated that, and you could never tell what was going to happen. I love those real long versions of Tables Will Turn, and sometimes this was always a treat. They didn't always play this. This was not one that was an every nighter, but it was one that was played enough that it was really great to look forward to. Number 36, I'm going to go to State from the State record. The song Surreality, I saw was a great version live of that on the not on the Liars tour, but on the tour with what was the one here? White Night Tour. Very great version of that. I know that some people said it on the State version. It was really good too. Love the recorded version. Love the message. Number 35 from the Play Up Against It, I think, and from the record Nearly Human, Parallel Lines. Somewhat malleable song. Heard a couple different versions of it. You heard the version with the solo version and the piano when they did the Up Against It play, but then again, you heard the great version of the single version that Todd put out. Just shows you what a great tunesmith he is. Perfect arrangement. Somebody to think about. Well, let's go against the grain and let's just put up a bunch of mics and record this whole thing live. Just an incredible concept that is kind of going back in time, but at the same time, doing it digitally, which I thought was an interesting twist. And always leave it to Todd to push the envelope. Number 34, the opening song from the ever popular Todd Songs Hideaway, a song that really has not, I don't think, seen a lot of live performances because of the stop-start version of it. I think there may have been one. I don't remember. I used to know everything on the back of my head, but it's been a few years from that. But really, just a great melodic song, great high, clear vocals, beautiful sound on that whole record. That's probably the closest his sound got manipulated by the '80s ruination thing, and he still had the taste and moved in with it just fantastic. Ushered in with a new age, deal with healing, and then we moved on to Ever Popular Torch, which had a lot of great keyboard sounds on it and such. We're going to go on to the drippy, trippy, useless begging from Todd in 1974 at my number 33. Just a perfect sound with that. Dun, 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 dun. I just like it's so cool. I just love it. I love that era of Todd, 1974. It's really nice. That video he made, LP's worth of tunes on the. Love the man. I love the man. Let's go down to 32. We're going to go to New World Order, to the more or less the closer on the record, Fever Broke. To me, the peak of the emotional trip of the record, the best vocals on it. I must have seen that tour 15 or 20 times, and it was just interesting the way they had certain pods, like there was the property pod, and then you had the worldwide pod, and then you had the different, and they got mixed in, and depending on what came first. I remember A Great Word Made Flesh up in Detroit and stuff. That was a great tour. But anyway, Fever Broke, really, really great. And number 31, another malleable song from the ever popular Tortured Artist Effect, which made its way onto with a twist, the rousing I can feel, I can touch, something is changing. Influenza, beautiful song, and kind of a feeling that everybody should step back. I mean, Todd is very creative in being able to step back in himself. I don't think you'll find an artist across his whole atmosphere that really has tried to tackle as many different sounds and as many different type of things. There was a lot of people trying to get to one place and one thing, and he was never been like that. And most of the time, if everybody's up on the mountain, he's down in the valley. It's just kind of the way he always has been. I'm going to do it my way, and I think it's fantastic. And let's go to number 30 with the beautiful, reminded me of Malleable again, the great a cappella song "Pretending to Care," which was adapted again by Ethel and presented on that tour with Joe Jackson. It was just beautiful. Today I am your chariot horse. When you think about the lyrics, and Chasm said that so eloquently, talked about how Todd's, really as a lyricist is without peer, and that's the truth. If you look at his words and you look at the emotion and the thought communicated and the concepts communicated through the words and the precision of those words, there's nobody singing songs with that kind of a message and that kind of a depth, and that's why his fans don't walk away. That's why his fans stay forever, because a lot of them, even though if they don't intellectually realize it, they feel it, and so that's why they're there, and that's why we're here. We understand that it's good. We hear what's coming, and we know good and we know bad instinctually, like every living thing, and we know who's coming with do no harm, and we know who's coming to try to encourage positivity, encourage relations, and encourage things. And that's why I'll never leave, man. I'll never leave. I'll never leave. I'm not in the same categories I was when I was a young man. I don't have the same energy, but damn, I love the man. But anyway, let's move on. Before I get all stupid. Number 29, the beautiful, beautiful ballad on Second Wind, Love in Disguise, that he sings with Shandy. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song. I think that's one of the best songs from Up Against It. One of the ones that really shone through. And to me, it was a showstopper every time I heard it live. I know a lot of people thought, well, that's kind of one that's, they don't like classical or they don't like that style, man, or show tunes, man. I thought, you could hear that influence from his, in all that work, the way he approached the work with the Beatles thing. It was just from him listening to his dad's Gilbert and Sullivan records. He knew how to present it, and he knew how to present that in a theatrical way. And he was smart as hell, man, and remains as such this day. Number 28, vote song that took a lot of balls to write as far as the lyrics. You Will Be a Healer in 1981. After going through the stuff he went through in Woodstock and the John Lennon assassination and the bank robber, the person and his problems up in Woodstock being, robbed and traumatized and that's terrible. It's just awful. But what a brave, brave record, and what a transcendent and innovative record. When you think about what was available in 1981, and you think about what he turned in as a record, it's. I mean, nobody else was doing this. This was early. Yeah, you had your Jares, you had your Tamitas, you had the people that they were doing that, but you didn't really have anybody working in this kind of a basis thing. Now, some can say Brian Wilson started to Love You, started electronically doing things, but he kind of didn't put zanier way than this. This is more of the long wave forms and the beautiful thing. It's just a beautiful thing. Let's talking about beautiful things. Let's talk about The Waiting Game, and one of my favorite tracks on Nearly Human, greatly performed on David Letterman. One of my favorite ones. He really had a kick. It's funny how David got a kick from the background singers. I think he really liked Michelle, Shandy, and what was the other girl's name? Jenny Moldar. Yeah, those are the three at the time. And it's just great. That was a great band. It was a great fun. I love that big band. My God, what a great time that was. And I like the fact what's so interesting is they played with that band when they came back and did a lot of the songs this last time. There was only a couple of people the same. I think the saxophone player was the same, and Todd was the same. I think everybody else on stage had not played on that, including Chasm. At that time, Larry Tagg was in the band, so it's just an interesting. And Prairie wasn't playing then yet. It was Michael Urbano was playing from Bourgeois Tag, so um, it was an interesting situation, just an interesting thing. Vince Welnick was playing on keyboards. He didn't have the same guys, didn't have the same band. Not even Jesse was playing. So it was just interesting. But the Clearly Human show, and I thought that was great too. Just a couple years ago, the one they did live on how he did as far as financially, but I thought it was great. Yeah, that's what Oasis is selling out everywhere. I was thinking to myself, my God, why don't they sell out and then they can sell pay-per-view for one of their last shows and do like Todd did? Hell, if Todd can do it, they have the budget to do that. They're making enough money to make a seamless presentation like a TV show. They could broadcast their show, make some money. If that's the idea. Must be. Number 26, The Ballad. The Plaintive Ballot from Liar's Past. Uh, just a beautiful soul ballad. He's just got that slow, beautiful chord change. It sounds like what a classic. What a melody, man. He's just soul, man. I mean, it sounds like a song that was written back in the heart of Marvin Gaye and the part. It's beautiful. Number 25, one of the peaks of Something Anything. It Takes Two to Tango. And I think that first side of Something Anything is really kind of special to a lot of people. It is to me. It takes two to tango. I just love the way it feels like it's modulating. It's true, yes, it's true. Bump, 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 bump. I'm as guilty. I just like the way it jumps around. It's just neat. I do home recording, and honest to God, it's the truth. It sounds like that made me wanna record, make me wanna. I've been we're recording now our sixth. We're getting ready to mix or release our sixth record. I'm getting ready to almost done. I'm trying to mix it now, and I would never start down the road. I mean, Todd to me really indicated to me an independence, an ability to try to do what you can to try to make it sound good. Forget the rule book. Number 24. I'm glad to see on the new tour that we saw here. Another song from Liar, Stood Up. The song Stood Up, which is kind of a very confessional song. I had mentioned before, I think that, for Todd to make a song like this, it's almost an admission of, yes, I was arrogant. Yes, I was cocky and ran my mouth, and don't you do the same thing. And it's very, it's very enlightening and very interesting. And any people who know him, I think, would say that there was a period of time in which, he had adjusted maybe his personal skills or to have patience with people to keep up with him. I think a lot that's evidently a lot of it. He knows where he wants to go, and he's already 2 or 3 steps mentally ahead of most people. So, but love the man, and love Stood Up, and what a great song, and what a beautiful sentiment. Number 23, I'm going to go to one of the ones where we got the little CDs from the Patronet thing. Mary and the Holy Ghost from One Long Year. Here's a boy child coming. I like the experimental stuff. I think it's beautiful. I think that beautiful stuff he did is somewhat reminiscent of that song that he did with Trent Reznor, and that just missed this also. It just missed this list, but I think it's just beautiful. I love Mary and the Holy Ghost, always have. It's an instrumental song. And it's got, some of the, I think it sounds like Johnny Hooker. I don't know who it is singing. You got a boy child coming, and he keeps sampling this stuff, and it's beautiful. It's really just beautiful what he did with it. And that's my number 23. My number 22 is a classic example of the old flipperoo. Hurting for You from Herman of Mink Hollow. First side of Herman of Mink Hollow. Yesterday, just saw the one you left behind. Yesterday. Anyway, he empathizes and talks about how this girl broke this guy's heart, and yet then at the end he confesses it. Said, but I can't deny it. There's nothing else I could do. I was one of the many struck by it. Just a remarkable piece of songwriting, a beautiful sentiment, and an often overlooked song, a song that really he never played live. And I think it's overlooked. He may have played it live in some later incarnations, but it was not played at the time. Number 21 is one of the centerpieces of the Great Wizard of True Star album, The Songs and Archer, which is a beautiful, has been played beautifully live, and actually it was really there was a great live versions back in the 78 version with the Hello People Band and all that. They did a pretty decent version of it too. And it's great just to hear. It's great just to hear it live. I think it was really a highlight of the Wizard of True Star show, which unfortunately, as I said before, I was not available during that period of time. I don't know what happened. Those recreation things, I didn't see hardly any of those tours, and I feel bad. I should have gone to that. I know that by looking at the video, I'm envious. I did purchase the video, so. Number 20, we're going to go to one of those centerpieces of the pods, and probably one of the songs I'm most happy to see come back into the set list, and that's Worldwide Epiphany. They really rocked out the house at the end. I always loved I always loved the message. At one point, people are going to wake up. At one point, people will, we'll see. They'll come to a realization that it doesn't help to say that these people lie about people, and doesn't help to make up things to try to justify your inner turmoil. It's best to try to quell your inner turmoil. It's always interesting to me that it seems like and I'm identifying with everybody, but when I seem like I made the biggest mess in my life, then I feel like I should maybe tell somebody else what to do. What? I mean, take care of your life first. And once you have a good example, then maybe you could consider talking about somebody else. But really, it's none ya, as they say. It's called what my mother used to call nose trouble. Just let somebody do what they want to do. Or it would be a lot easier with that. Number 19, great to see the song Afterlife. That was great to see that. I think what happened with that, again, he played in Australia, and they played a version of that. I think there was a version of that on piano sometime too early on in the thing. But I don't remember the band playing it on that Liars tour. I don't think that was one of the songs that was tackled at that time. Number 18 is going to be the marathon end of the first side of the Healing record, The Great Shine, The Transcendent Shine. You see the versions of live on the Healing record with the children's choir singing and enjoying it, and Todd jumping around picking up from their energy. Number 17, something that was played on the last tour here that I was very happy with, this most recent tour, is The Last Ride from Todd. Todd used to be one of the highlights and one of the close to the encore of the show. Used to be able to see that. I remember with Utopian stuff, he used to play some great live versions of it. But it was just the way he would lean into the vocals and the guitar and kind of have his thing going. It was wonderful to see. Number 16 is, of course, Real Man. The show opener and in a lot of the 19th and all the 78 shows. But the opening song from Initiation, which is my personal favorite, as you know, from my list. If you don't know, check it back. You can look back. You can check that video. But Real Man is, of course, been done in many, many contexts, and I love it. It's always one of my favorite songs. It really stands for something for many people. Number 15, Sweeter Memories. Of course, the climax to the great side one of Something Anything. Keep the good, keep the bad. Take a few of these, the sweeter memories. I just love it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's really anybody that can connect from it that's kind of forlorn and feels like they made a mistake, and it really conveys a certain feeling to it. Number 14, I'm going to cheat again. I'm going to pick Intro Prana from the second side of Initiation, Treaties on Cosmic Fire, which is essentially the theme. They did release a single of that. I have that as a single Prana. It's interesting to have that on your jukebox. I don't remember. I think it's When I Praise, maybe on the other side. I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, that's a great, man, it could be When I Praise. When I Pray was after that. I think that was a cliche or something, or maybe the Good Vibration single. But anyway, Intro Prana is great, and I had it on my jukebox. I still have it on my jukebox. It's in my mother's house, but it's still in there. Number 13 is going to also be a somewhat of a cheat. Part 3 of Healing. If I'm going to pick which part I'm going to pick the end. Ding, 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 ding. Da da da. Boom, boom. Boom, boom, ba-dum. Anyway, great song. Great song, great part of it. I'm going to go to number 12, one that I played on the show for Doug and Mel a long time ago on the Rundgren radio show where we did a bootleg show. One of my favorite live performances ever was when they were doing those shows for Second Wind. There was a great version of I Have to Be Alone. I don't know why he didn't pick that version. I mean, it was maybe too much, but it was very emotional and just great. What a great song. I think to me that's really the most deep, poignant song of the bunch. Number 11, I'm going to go with one of the staples of the early band, When the Shit Hits the Fan, Sunset Boulevard, which was a great live song to play. I remember Willie and Kaz and the bunch even could play it early on. The Utopia band played it early on. It was always a big crowd pleaser and one of my favorites. Number 10 is a plaintive ballad that, to me, it comes from one of the greatest records that he made, the ballad Todd Rundgren, which kind of, in simplistic form and in simplistic instrumentation, kind of distills Todd's harmonic trip that he's really chipped away at, ever since then. Certainly he's progressed from that, but I mean, it really laid out a coherent, somebody who had a sophisticated thing going, and it was just in such a plain way. It was just, it was gorgeous. But number 10 is Wailing Wall. Of course, there's a great emotional version he did with the orchestra over there recently over there in Denmark or Holland or wherever that was. Number 9 is going to be Don't You Ever Learn. My friend Billy James did a version of this with Napoleon Murphy Brock singing from Zabathang. It's a very decent version of this. But again, I love the original. There's also some great live versions on some of those. That 73 Atlanta Fox thing, there's a great live version from that. Just great stuff. That was great when the band was so good. And so that's my number 9. Number 8, certainly we're getting into the complete, nerve-shaking beauty of Cold Morning Light. I mean, one of my ultimate favorite Todd songs. One of the harsh version, but a harsh lyric, but at the same time, he does it with such delicacy and such beauty. It's so sad that you won't be back for me. I just gets me, man. It's beautiful. Number 7, of course, is the message, the distillation of the basic message, the love of the common man. That is understood by all the Todd attendees and all the people that everybody thinks they're such freaks or whatever. You can think whatever they want to think about it, but there's something happening there. There's nowhere else happening. I mean, I've been to a lot of the music scenes, and there's a great thing. He's got a great thing with his fans, and I think to me that's very representative of that. And number 7, Love of the Common Man. A song for everyone, been in the staples of the set back in 78, the great set. Let's go to number 6, one of the great videos of all time, done on the toaster. Change Myself, beautiful message also. It's played in some recent bands too, but not played enough. I think that song is one of Todd's greatest, obviously it's one of Todd's greatest songs, I think. And it's really something with a message. If I want more peace in the world, then I must make peace with myself. If I want more love in the world, if I want more trust in the world, then I must trust in myself. It's just here it is, try again tomorrow. What I live by, man. I mean, that's words of wisdom. Number 5, of course, A Dream Goes On Forever was the name of the books that I helped Billy write, the first couple of books. Just plaintive. I remember coming up in that 1972 bootleg, you had the Hello People, all of a sudden you got that version. He wrote that song. And that was there when Anything was there, but, didn't get recorded until Todd. But in a completely different version. But seek out that 1972 Hello People radio broadcast. I'm sure it's been officially released by now. Really fantastic. Number 4, now we're going to get in really heavy duty stuff. But we've all got something to live for. I need someone to say, I've got dreams of my own. I'll know I'm not alone. And when I hear my blue Orpheus sing, I know that life is a wonderful thing. Number 4, man. God. I mean, some of the stuff, from that period of time, you could tell he was greatly affected by some of the tragedy in his life, the death of his friend, and it's so representative of all the pain we have in our lives for different versions, and for that we salute you. Let's get into the hardcore, man. Number 3, you've heard it before. Whenever I Hawking, of course, man. I've seen more transcendent versions of this than even up to the last one I saw just this year. It's just beyond belief, man. I mean, he goes somewhere else sometimes with this. And it's named after Stephen Hawking, yes, but we're all out here on the border, man. Trapped behind the mirror, aren't we all? Aren't we? Aren't we all, man? Tell me at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning some nights. Are you? Of course you are. Just beautiful stuff. While we're at it, let's stay on that deep soul groove, man. And we're going to go to From Nearly Human and from Love Bomb, Feel It, the great song of Vince Welnick and Todd. When that thing got slow, I hate when they speed it up. It's so much better when it's slow, man. It's just, I've seen as he builds up for that guitar at the end, you got to help me. I mean, just when you hear the, da, 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 oh, take me away, man. There's nothing, there's some of the finest moments, all of music. And I might as well tell you what my number one is, man. The great song of Lost, The Lost Horizon, baby, from acapella, number one. When you sang how you felt, I told myself maybe someday I'll sing with you. I got so much to live for. Lessons I've never learned. When you lose someone forever, it hurts so bad, man. Hurts so bad. I have an ideal I think is real, but I just can't find it. I believe that one day I'll melt away into that lost horizon. I mean, who else is dealing in that currency, maybe? Tell me. Tell me where else I can get that from. He's a man, man. Anyway, that's my top 40 Todd Rundgren songs, guys. Very close and dear to my heart. Hopefully I know some of y'all. Will you please leave your comments, say hello, and please tell me what you think, because I know I've seen you there for decades, so I know you've got a list too. You just need to think about it and get it straightened out. Because I see you lost up there, and when we're in the clouds, when he's singing on logging, I see your soul up there with me, man. We're all together, dude. So tell me about it. Tell me about your experience with Todd. Means so much to me. Means so much to my life. Means so much to my philosophy of life. Everything. There's never anybody else that fills that space for me. And if you think there's something wrong with me, that's okay. There is something wrong with me, and if there's something wrong, then it's that I love Todd, and that's okay. If you want to say that's wrong, I think it's awesome. I see he's given me so much, and I probably won't have any other artists that I have 40 songs for, but nevertheless, thank you all for bearing with me, and glad we got through this without too much trouble. I will please leave your comments, leave your list below. I don't expect it to be 40, even if it's only 4 or 5, even if it's a comment on my list, even if it's, hey, Tony, haven't seen you in a while. What's going on from the shows? Hopefully see you guys back on the road again soon with this. But anyway, thanks a lot. And I will see, you know the drill. Please like this if you can. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And I appreciate you being here with me, brothers and sisters. I appreciate it. We will catch you guys next time with something new. Peace out. This has been